Well, hey there. This is Zeke. It's about 3:30 or 4 in the morning. Can't sleep. Um, don't know if I'm going to post what I'm recording right now, but I'm angry. Almost 1 year ago, on uh, October 7th of last year, uh, Palestinian terrorists, or Hamas terrorists, breached the border of Israel. And rather than attack military targets, they attacked a music festival and murdered a whole bunch of people. They attacked small private farming communities and killed many people. And they live streamed what they were doing at the time because they were so proud of it. What did they do? Well, they attacked unarmed people and they murdered them. They raped women. They raped some women so brutally that their pelvises were broken. I've heard reports of a woman who was 4 months pregnant. They cut the baby out of her stomach in front of her other children, beheaded the baby in front of her while she was still alive. Then they killed her, and then they killed all of her children. I've heard stories of taking babies and putting them in ovens, turning the ovens on, and just walking away. In other words, these people are fucking evil. And they're cowards because they grabbed a couple of hundred hostages, everything from infants, or not infants, toddlers to elderly, took them back into the Gaza Strip and held them, and they're still holding many of them, over 100. And just yesterday, just before they were rescued, Hamas murdered 6 more people. And here in America, we've got a large number of people defending them, protesting against Israel, because Israel had an immediate and strong response to that attack on Israel. Now, I will say that some of the most ignorant, arrogant, and angry people I've ever met in my life are either college students or have college degrees or are college professors. And this is a big problem in America because they're so isolated from everything else in the world that they think they're much smarter than everybody else in the world. They think that Jews and Israel are the problem. They're not. If you study history, history, ancient history, Jews are the indigenous people of the land that is now Israel. They've been there since the beginning of recorded time, or recorded history. There's never been a country called Palestine. When the Romans conquered that region, they called the area Philistine or Palestine or Philistina or whatever they called it. But that doesn't mean that was a country, it was a territory. But Jews have been there since the beginning of recorded history. And we're talking thousands of years. So, in my view, Jews are the indigenous people of that land, not Palestinians. There's, like I said, never been a country called Palestine. And the Jews have bent over backwards to create a two-state solution. And even when they went into Gaza to go after Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, they went to greater lengths than any military force in the history of humankind to avoid civilian casualties. But it's really difficult because Hamas are cowards. They hide behind their women and children. They build their military installations underneath hospitals and schools and apartment complexes. How is a military force going to fight that without having civilian casualties? Well, the Israeli army, the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, sends out texts and they drop leaflets and say, hey, we're going to attack here, get out. Well, when they do that, they're alerting the enemy, the Hamas fighters, the Hamas terrorists, where they're going to attack. And so what do the Hamas people do? They depart and they make the civilians stay there. Why do they do that? Because they want civilian casualties, because it plays well on the news for them. And there are far too many Americans who fall for that bullshit every time. Hamas are the bad guys, not the Israelis, not the IDF. And if you can't see that, you're a fucking moron. Wake up. Your college education is not an education. It's an indoctrination. If you haven't been forced to read Aristotle, Socrates, and all of these other ancient white people writings, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Wake up and catch up and get into the real world. Israel. Oh, that's another thing. We've got all these people chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What do you think that means? I've seen all kinds of videos of people who are chanting that shit and they're asked what river, what sea, and they don't know. The Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. And if you believe from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, what does that mean? Jews aren't allowed. And what that really translates to is all of the Jews need to be killed or relocated somewhere else. That sounds a hell of a lot like what Hitler used to stand for. Wake the fuck up, America. Stop being stupid. Do your own research. Thanks for listening.